Is it the end for Luis at Liverpool? Real go in search of their next Galactico. Barca already have theirs, but will the arrival of Neymar spark a new camp clear-out? Joining me, Liverpool legend Gary McAllister and goal correspondent Greg Stobart. I'm Matt Lorenzo. Welcome to Transfer Talk. Well, a lot of our viewers have been asking this week about Liverpool, and who better to answer those questions than Gary McAllister, Liverpool stalwart. No idea what stalwart means, Gary, but you must know the answer to the pressing question at Liverpool, and that's the future of Suarez.
Well, I've got to say, I've watched quite a bit of Liverpool this season, and trying to imagine Liverpool next season without him is very difficult, because he's simply been outstanding. I've got him way up there, probably as close to Messi and Ronaldo as anybody in the world. So I think that if they can manage to persuade him and keep him there for next season, you would have to say Liverpool would have a chance of getting back to where they think they should belong, and that's in qualifying for Champions League. I've been very encouraged. I've watched them quite a lot this season, and the thing was, Sturridge did come to the fore. He did do well when Suarez was missing, due to his ban. But whether he can go the whole distance of a season, leading the line for Liverpool, I'm not too sure. But I would have to say, if Liverpool can convince Suarez to stay, which I personally feel that he might go. I think once he goes away from Anfield and goes back home, and a lot of outside agencies start penetrating his mind, I think he might just be persuaded to go and try and play at a club where he'll definitely get Champions League football, which he doesn't have at Liverpool.
That's the thing for Suarez. A player of that quality deserves to be playing in the Champions League. I don't think even Liverpool fans could argue with that. They'd ask him for one more season. But without Champions League football, Liverpool don't really have the money to hold off.
Another thing, people keep saying, he's young enough to, he's still got a few good years left in him to play champ. But there's no time like the present, and like every player, once you go, playing that level of football, it's where he belongs. It's where his quality actually belongs. He
does feel victimised, though. I think he's made that pretty clear, especially when he talked to the press back in South America. He had the Patrice Evra incident, then the biting incident. He feels victimised, and you can see why he might be thinking that he wants a fresh start. And then you look at the clubs who'd be interested in him. His agent's Pep Guardiola's brother, so Bayern Munich could be an option. There are loads of rumours in Spain that Real Madrid could make a move, and he'd be perfect for them.
Let's talk Real Madrid, because as you say, they do need a big signing, so it's likely to be the headline that comes next, surely.
Yeah, you'd think so. Mourinho's leaving. The president, Florentino Perez, is up for re-election. That's always an issue at a club like Real Madrid. They've just finished second in the league, and Barcelona have gone and signed Neymar, having won the league.
And it's vital that they've got to compete with Barcelona.
They've got to, and the era of the Galacticos might be over, but Real Madrid aren't past spending 50, 60, 70 million pounds on the right player.
I think that bid will be heading towards London. I've got to say, I think it'll be heading towards Tottenham. I think Madrid will make a big play for Gareth Bale.
All guns
I really
out
do.
Yeah, all guns out for Gareth Bale. You look at Zinedine Zidane saying that we were talking about Suarez. Zinedine Zidane says that Bale is up there with Messi and Ronaldo. It's a massive.
The thing that I've enjoyed about Gareth Bale, I think he's adapted really well this season. AVB's introduced him to different areas of the pitch, and he now looks like a player who I think can play right across that sort of front three. He can play on the right, he can play on the left, and he's proved this year that he can play off a striker or play right up front on his own.
Since Christmas, he's undoubtedly been the best player in the country. The things he does, he'll just pick the ball up and stick it in the top corner out of absolutely nowhere. I think he should stay, like Suarez. I think he should stay, and I think he will stay for one more year at Tottenham. I think he's going to sign a new contract. There might be an agreement for him to leave next summer.
But there is no time like the present. I just think, he's straight whilst the iron's hot. And the young lad is hot, and I think it's his time. And once, he might never get the opportunity to go to Real Madrid ever again. And if they come knocking and he says no, will they come back in a year's time?
I think they will.
They might do, but his form might slump. He might not have the same season he has. These things can happen. I think he should go now. I think he's ready for it. I think he's ready to explode on the Champions League.
OK, Barca, they've landed the big one already. Neymar, at last, no big secret, has ended up at Barcelona. A lot of controversy over whether they've actually got what they paid for. I mean, Pelé says he's better than Messi. I think that's a controversial.
I think that's his Brazilian prejudice coming in there. Seen quite a bit of him, and on the national front when he plays with the national team, I just don't know if he's got the physique to go through a season. I just don't think he's physically strong enough. I look at him, And it's more of a signing due to the flamboyancy and the haircuts and the step-overs, but I don't see him in the same planet as Messi at this moment in time. He might come to Europe and prove us wrong. The Brazilians do tend to get it right. You know, they do spend their formative years in Brazil, and they're released into Europe when they're ready, and they think he's ready. But I just don't know if he's got enough physical presence at the moment.
I mean, there's a reason a lot of the top clubs in Europe wanted him. There was Chelsea, Man City, Real Madrid would have paid twice as much for Neymar as Barcelona did. So he must have something about him. He's a marketer's dream because he's the face of the World Cup, and obviously the World Cup's in Brazil next year. I think from Barcelona's point of view, they just needed to freshen it up. You know, they strolled La Liga, but it felt like that great team.
They've needed to freshen things up. I felt for a couple of seasons, even whilst they were playing all this wonderful football and winning everything in front of them. But it must have been very difficult for the owners and the managers to drop any of the players in that team. But it did need freshening, but they've had to stay loyal to one of the greatest club sides ever.
What Barcelona really need, though, is defenders and probably a goalkeeper with Valdez running down his contract. You know, Neymar might have helped them score a goal against Bayern Munich, but he wouldn't have done anything to stop them conceding 7 over 2 games. So that's got to be the next priority for Barcelona this summer.
So it's not just Neymar. Well, who else are they after? And by default, who is left to pick up?
Well, the thing with Barcelona is they need to clear out a few too. I think there are a few younger players like Deulofeu and Thiago Alcantara.
Fabregas has been mentioned as well. You know, he's maybe not played as many games as he would like to have. You know, he's been mentioned, but to other clubs.
His stats are good, Fabregas, but he's just not playing as much as he would like. The fairy tale hasn't quite worked out. You almost sense that he was happier at Arsenal at times when you watch him play. And Arsenal have first option on him to bring him back, so there's always that option. A lot of links to Man United because David Moyes is going to spend money, you think, make his mark at United, and that central midfielders
that makes more sense to me than any other one. Fabregas to United, you know, just teaming up with Van Persie again, and United are desperate for a ball-playing midfielder.
Well, who else is on Moyes' wish list? Because he had a clear-out, which surprised me. You would have thought that he would have eased himself to the old guard there instead of getting rid of them just like that.
You know, I think Fergie threw a curveball last season by landing Van Persie, and there's part of me I've got a gut feeling that Moyes will go for Gareth Bale as well.
They want him. I think they'd want him. I think any side in the world would want Gareth Bale. United's priority for me has got to be a central midfielder, and like you said, a playmaker central midfielder. So someone like Fabregas or Thiago Alcantara of Barcelona, Luka Modric, that kind of player.
Modric has been mentioned, and you know,
that kind of player.
Fergie in the past was desperate for him before he went to Madrid.
I think what they'll do is Moyes might take a safe bet somewhere. Someone like Fellaini, who he's worked with before and proven in the Premier League, give them some power in midfield, get them goals as well. They haven't really had a goal scorer from central midfielder since Paul Scholes when he was at his best.
But I feel there'll be a big blue chip signing. I think there will be a big one.
All right, let's go back to where we started, and Liverpool. The poignant story of a player they don't want. I mean, West Ham are desperate to keep Carroll, but he's agreed a £15 million fee, but he doesn't want that. He wants to go back to Liverpool, and apparently they don't want him.
Well, that was made pretty clear when Brendan Rodgers got the job. You know, it was within days of Brendan getting the job, it was pretty clear that Charlie Adam was surplus. You know, he mentioned that Downing and Henderson weren't going to be good enough, but the Andy Carroll was surplus. He didn't fit into, you know, Brendan's vision of how he wanted his teams to play, and the decision was made very, very quickly, and it looks as if it's not been changed. Even though Andy has had a fantastic season at West Ham, and when you watch him, you know, Liverpool are a technical side who want to play a technical passing game, and I think that suits Andy Carroll. I just don't think he's this big, you know, British centre forward who you smack long balls at. I think you've seen him, some of the things he's done this season in and around his left side. He's a fantastic he's got lovely touch and brings people into play, and he's got good skill. I just don't think Brendan Rodgers likes him.
He doesn't like him, and he wants the money. He's only got about 20 million to spend.
It's a big hit, isn't it? It's a big hit.
It's
you
a
know,
big
you're
hit,
talking
but it's
15,
not their business.
15 million from 35.
They've only got about 20 million to spend, and they need 3 or 4 players at least if they're going to get in the Champions League, because all the teams above them are going to spend as well. He needs the money, really. 35 million, you can buy 3 or 4 quality players with that. They need to replace Jamie Carragher. That's got to be their priority now. They might even have to replace Suarez, as we were talking about earlier. He needs the money, and Andy Carroll, he's a good plan B. But you look at the kind of players Liverpool are signing, players like Coutinho, that's the style that Rodgers wants to play.
But Coutinho, you'd have to say, you know, Liverpool may have this 20 million plus the money they may get for Andy Carroll. But I don't see Liverpool making a 40, 50 million pound signing. They'll be in and around that 8 to 15, and it'll be players who have got a point to prove. Like Coutinho's got a point to prove. You know, he's failed, you know, at Milan, Inter, and he's come there and he's showed a few that he's well capable. So that's the type of player that Liverpool are having to pitch for. You know, just off the top players, players with, you know, get certainly something to prove.
Well, that's all the transfer talk we have time for. If you've enjoyed it, don't forget to click on the subscribe button or leave us a message on Facebook, Twitter or YouTube.